Hello friends, I'm Apricot Amber. I'm the Chief Food Genius here at Food Literacy Center, and today we are going to be making a great easy recipe that's going to warm us all up this winter. It is our homemade vegetable broth. You can find all of our recipes at foodliteracycenter.org/recipes. So this one is a great way to help to combat food waste because we're going to use scraps. It's also just a really cheap way to get a delicious meal. It's great to throw some noodles in this broth later or add any other veggies or even, like I said, noodles or beans and make a delicious soup. So all we need is a couple of ingredients, and I've got them already started to prep over here. The first most important ones: celery, carrot, and onion. And we're gonna take these guys, I've already chopped them up. I'm gonna turn on my burner here. We want our burner at about medium high heat. We're gonna add a bit of olive oil and just enough to coat the bottom there. And this is so quick. I've already chopped up some of the carrot. I've already chopped up half my onion. And the celery, this is a great time to use the small pieces of celery on the inside that are super leafy because you're not necessarily you can leave these chunky bits in your soup and use it as a base to add other things, or we can strain this and make a vegetable broth that we can use later, just keep in the fridge or the freezer. So we're gonna just quickly dice up carrot and celery, and we're gonna go ahead and use these leaves on the celery. They've got tons of great flavor. They're like using an herb. And I also am going to show you that, for example, if you are peeling potatoes and carrots for another recipe, you can take your carrot peels, you can throw them into a baggie in your freezer and just grab them out later when you're going to make something like this stock. So this is a great way to sort of use up vegetable scraps. So I'm going to show you how we just go ahead and throw these, because you're looking for the flavor in these vegetables. It's not so much about how pretty they look or what they're going to taste like later. It's all about the flavor that's packed into these delicious vegetables. And here we go. This particular blend of celery, carrot, and onion, there's a new vocabulary word. It's called mirepoix. Can you say that with me? Mirepoix. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it Frenchy-like, but that is a French word, and the people in France have a very known history in cooking, and so this is a basic combination of vegetables that is often used to make something like a soup broth. So that's what we're doing today. Is we're taking this fancy mirepoix, which is literally just carrot skins and celery leaves. They could be straight out of your freezer and still frozen, and we're gonna throw those into our warmed up soup pot and get those to start browning. So that is how easy. You could stop there and you would literally have the base for a delicious soup broth. That's all you need to add. But we're gonna keep going because it's all about flavor, and the more kinds of flavors we add. Hey Jamaica, I'm so glad you and your son can make it. We're gonna add more layers of flavor here so that we just continue to make that rich soup flavor. So we've got our mirepoix in there, the celery, carrot, and onion. And now I've already chopped up a few cloves of garlic. I'm gonna add that as well. And we just keep this burner at about medium high. You can already smell those flavors combining. So now I've added another flavor, and that's the garlic. If you don't love garlic, you could leave this out. That's the beauty of this recipe, is that you can totally play with flavors that are your favorite ones. And that's how we get the flavor into our soup. So everything is cooking. It's starting to smell so delicious. I don't know if you can see this, but that is getting browned. We're gonna cook these until the vegetables begin to soften and brown. The other thing that you can add, I have mushrooms here. Well, you might actually want to use this whole mushroom for something else, but you can pop the stem of that mushroom off and throw the mushroom stem into the broth. So that's a really great thing that you can do to not waste food. And again, you could keep a little bag or a container in your freezer as you're making something with mushroom. Take those stems if you don't want the stems in your recipe and put them in that freezer bag. And then when you're ready to make a broth, you've got those in there. Mushrooms are gonna add a very specific flavor to this soup. I like that rich, sort of earthy flavor that the mushrooms add, so I'm gonna add mushrooms to mine. If you don't love mushrooms, leave them out. If you like more mushrooms, add more. That's the secret to this delicious, delicious broth. So at this point, I've added a lot of, I wanna add a potato. I already washed one, and I'm gonna show you the same trick that we used with the carrot. Say you wanna use this potato later, you've got another recipe you want potato for, well, then let's just put the potato skin. It's still got tons of flavor, and that's what we're looking for. We're trying to get the flavors out of our vegetables and into the broth that we're making. So we're just gonna peel our potato straight into here. And again, if you're peeling potatoes and you're not making stock right now, throw them in the freezer. You can always grab them out and make some broth later. So now I've got a potato peel in there, I've got garlic, I've got my mirepoix, which again is celery, carrot, and onion, that fancy French word. And now I've got sort of my harder vegetables, the ones that need to cook for about 5 minutes in order to soften. And so as they soften, I'm gonna prep a few of my other ingredients. So I have a bay leaf tree at home. So I grow my own bay leaves. I'll show you what that looks like. They just, grow on the tree on a stem like this. And then I pick them off and I let them dry on a wooden cutting board. And I can use these to make soup. And you would pull these out later, but they add this wonderful aroma to the soup that I like. So I'm gonna use some bay leaf as well. So that's gonna go on the side to be prepped in a minute. I'm just trying to get these cooked for a couple of minutes so they begin to brown. And I can show you, we're getting close. We just want those a little more brown. They're still not quite tender enough and not quite golden enough. That golden color is gonna start to bring out the sugars, and it's gonna add a richer flavor to my broth if I just can be patient enough to let them cook a little longer. I also have some parsley here. This is another great herb that, you get this huge bundle and you never need very much parsley at once. So you'll have this giant bundle. What do you do with it? Maybe you've used the tops somewhere. Maybe you garnished something or put it on pasta. Well, take these, it just helped itself into my pot. You can take these stems, actually, and just chop them up a little bit. And it doesn't matter if you cut them small or big. You can't mess this up. I'm gonna throw a handful of those parsley stems in there because they have, I can smell that grassy aroma already. So they're just gonna add another level of flavor. Now you can see, I'm ready. This is nice and brown. You can see the color that's coming on those veggies down there. So that means I'm ready to add my broth. So, or make it into broth, I should say. So I literally have a giant bowl of water. And if you were at home and not on TV, you could walk your pot over to the sink. And so I'm gonna take all of this water and I'm just gonna dump it into my soup pot. It smells so good in here, you guys. And you can see it's already got that wonderful brothy color because we caramelized those vegetables. So that's why you're seeing that rich browned color already so quickly. And then if you actually stir along the bottom, you're gonna get some of those browned bits that were at the bottom of the saute pan, and they're gonna start to sort of cook throughout your broth as well. I'm gonna dump in my bay leaf. This is the perfect time for that. Another thing, if you are using, for example, any spices, so I want to have black pepper, for example, this is a great time to add any spices that you want to use. So I'm going to add black pepper. I like that in my broth. any other layer of flavor that you want. I also like oregano. I also grow that in my garden. So I'm gonna take a bit of oregano here and pinch that in. And you guys, I literally just made vegetable broth. So the thing about a good vegetable broth is that you are gonna want to let this cook, and we have to be so patient. I'm gonna turn mine up a bit. You're gonna wanna bring it to a boil first, and that's the big bubbles where it's going plop, 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 plop all over. So you wanna bring it to a boil, and then you're gonna cover it, and I left my lid on the counter. So then you're gonna, after it has the big bubbles, you're gonna turn it down to a low simmer. And so the simmer is tiny bubbles, more like bloop, bloop. And so we're gonna cover that when it gets to that low simmer, put the lid on, and you can leave it sit anywhere. As soon as you've got it looking a bit like this and it comes to a boil, it's got flavor. The longer you leave it sit, the more flavor it's gonna get. So it's gonna get richer and richer. And so the sort of ideal time to let this sit would be 45 minutes to an hour. And that is gonna be your richest broth. But if you're like, I just want some soup right now and it's cold and I'm hungry, then just bring it up to a boil, and I'll show you what we're gonna do after that. So mine has not sat for 5 minutes. I'll put it back on the pot after we end our time together, but I will show you how you're going to get this ready to eat. So basically, you've taken your broth. I'm gonna turn it up just a bit, just in case I get lucky. I'm gonna take the bowl that I wanna eat out of. You could also take a mason jar, for example, if you were gonna, say you could put this in your fridge, or you could even freeze this later. So whatever serving vessel you want, you're gonna go ahead and take a sieve, and that's just like a little mesh. It's kind of like a strainer, but it's got tinier holes. And you're gonna place that on top of your bowl or your jar, whatever you're using. And then I'm gonna just take a measuring cup, scoop in here. Oh, I forgot salt. So you're also going to just salt to taste this. So I'm just gonna do a pinch of salt. Everyone who knows me knows I undersalt and don't oversalt my food. And did you know that your taste buds will actually adjust to levels of changing in your salt or sugar? So if you think that you need a high level of salt, you like your food super salty, start easing it back. And after 3 days, you will have changed your palate and adjusted that, and food will not taste right if you suddenly eat something super salty again. So it's really easy to adjust. You just have to be patient with the 3 days, but that's all it takes. So I have done this in my life, and I don't need much salt. So I'm gonna take a scoop. See how I've got like a, potato skin hanging? It's all good. I'm gonna pour it through my sieve. All those chunky pieces, doesn't matter, because they're gonna get caught in my sieve. And what I'm gonna be left with is this beautiful broth. Look at the color on that, you guys. Can you see that? It's so beautiful. Now I'm just pouring it everywhere. I'm gonna take my soup spoon. And it really doesn't take long to get the flavor in there. Cook it longer if you want a richer flavor. Oh, it's so good, you guys. I can taste the garlic, the onion, the celery, the carrot. Those flavors just blend together so nicely. So again, that is how easy it is to take your vegetable scraps and turn them into something warm and delicious this winter. So I hope that you have enjoyed cooking with me. I hope that you'll come back every week. We do a new recipe. You can find them at foodliteracycenter.org/recipes. And every week, one of our staff are here to cook along with you. And we have a great lineup for February. So please come back and eat with us, and click that orange button on our website and make a donation so that we can cook with kids in the Sacramento area. Thank you so much, and have a watermelon wonderful day.